Before we dive deeper into this Protea video, I would like to say some important things. First, you'll not see any endgame setup in this video yet. I haven't min-maxed this Warframe, and I did not invest any former on this frame yet. What you'll be seeing here is a general view on how each of her abilities work plus more. In addition, I will give you some tips on how to maximize each of her abilities, which will help you gain knowledge on how you can mod this frame accordingly. Okay, let's begin this video. Protea is the 43rd Warframe in this game, and her blueprint can be obtained by completing the Deadlock Protocol quest. Now I won't be spoiling anything on this quest, and I would like you to enjoy every moment of it. After you finish the quest, you need to partake on Granum Void missions, which are only available in Corpus ship tileset. These missions are where you farm Protea's neuroptics, chassis, and system. Now I will be making a Granum Void guide later, but let's just focus first on Protea on this video. So basically, Protea is a balanced Warframe in my opinion. She's not that type wherein one ability outshines the others. I think she's also the first frame that has a built-in universal aura former, which is quite nice since you can not just simply test every aura mods, but also you have the option to equip steel charge and maximize the mod capacity even at 0 former. Her stats are also balanced. Her armor is not that high, but it can be serviceable if you add Arcane Guardian on the mix. It could give you a 77% damage reduction if you choose to, but this would be only useful when leveling Protea. I wouldn't advise going with armor with this frame when it comes to min-max build. What I do suggest is giving some focus on her shields for survivability. Protea has an ability to both give you overshield and shield regeneration, which is pretty handy in maximizing the effectiveness of the shield gating mechanic. Also, health is decent, and you can achieve the usual 740 health when you have max vitality, 850 health value when you have 2 umbral mods, and 1070 if you have all umbral mods. Lastly, the energy may be insufficient at first glance, because as you take a look at Protea's abilities, you will conclude that this frame is pretty much a caster frame. However, do not fret, as this energy value is more than enough, since she got an ability also to give you loot. Okay, now let's proceed to her abilities. Her first ability is called Grenade Fan, and I consider this as one of her best abilities. There are 2 mechanics for this ability. If you tap it, then you will trigger the Shrapnel Vortex, which throws 3 Grenade Fan that deals slash damage, and staggers enemies that are hit by it. The other mechanic is when you press and hold the ability key, you will trigger the shield satellites. This is basically a defensive mechanism for Protea. Not only for her, but she can also give this to her allies. This mechanic will give you both overshield and shield regeneration once you pick up those grenade fan orbs lying on the ground. The overshield, and as well as the shield regeneration it gives, depends on how much power strength you add on this frame. Also, it is worth noting that adding adaptation in your build, some shield and shield regeneration mods, plus Arcane Aegis will somehow give you decent survivability against enemies that don't bypass shields. However, don't think that it will work well like Hildren's shield mechanics. It's less effective, but useful if you want to gain more survivability for this frame. It may be a good idea to make a shield tank Protea, but I don't recommend you doing so, because the slot intended for shield and shield regeneration are better to spend with other important mods. The shield regeneration isn't that helpful, especially when you are facing against high-level enemies. It is wise to take advantage of shield gating than shield regeneration while using Protea, as her grenade fans do extend the invulnerability upon shield depletion. But Grenade Fan is not meant for defense. It will give you tons of dumb fun if you decided to make it more offensive. Did I mention that Cephalon summaries won't get angry with you if you keep spamming this ability on the Sanctuary Onslaught? With range, efficiency, and some power strength on your build, then you could have a frame that can be fun to use in this mission aside from Sarin. Now I don't have a fixed build for this kind of playstyle yet, but if you want to try it out, I would advise not going with max range since having overextended will completely ruin the damage of your first ability. Remember that physical damage is not weighted 4 times as powerful as elements right now, so it's best that you give this ability some decent power strength. Sufficient range with stretch and augur each would do. Just add some efficiency so you can spam the ability often. But wait, there's more. killing crowds is not the only thing this ability can do. It's actually good also in endurance runs. I have tried a build with max duration so I can make the grenade more compact, but it didn't work since the grenade's trajectory is somehow fixed. They just land on the same spot once you throw it. Range affects how wide those projectiles will swirl, and it's a good option to put at least stretch on your build. You can use the same exact build I've shown earlier, but instead of auger reach, you can put intensify for more damage. Just an important note before we proceed to the next ability. The slash proc is not that powerful anymore when enemies go beyond level 100, but it's still serviceable if you spam a lot of grenade fans on the ground plus, you hit enemies with a viral weapon. By the way, the Warframe nerf wasn't that bad as we expected. The weapon is still good and you can actually use it to synergy with Protea's grenade fan. Now let's proceed with her second ability, Blaze Artillery. This ability is basically what was asked for Warban, and given to a new Warframe instead. Of all Protea abilities, this is the one that I think should need some tweaking. The ability is good in paper, but it sucks in real mission as the duration of Blaze Artillery is short. It will only last a couple of seconds, even with max duration on your build. The decision to make duration mods only affect its ammo capacity is what makes this ability lackluster in my opinion. I know the fact that this you can create a max efficiency build and duration build to have 4 artillery in the field at once, but it's really not worth investing. If these drones can somehow murder enemies in seconds, then it should be good, but at its current state, it can't since it deals heat damage. The heat damage is decent when you give it with power strength, and if you consider the fact that the ability has a damage scaling feature, but still, it's not a universal damage type. I'm not asking here to remove the feature wherein duration affects the ammo capacity of the drones. What I would like is to somehow increase the ammo capacity if Digital Extremes decides to keep it. Giving more time for drones to be present in the field will surely make the ability more interesting and useful in my opinion. Moving along, we got her third ability called Dispensary. This ability is plain and simple. It gives you loot, and it got it all. Health orb, energy orb, and universal ammo pack, which means it can also drop arch gun ammo. A simple ability can make a big difference. You will be loved by your teammates because they don't need to rely on necros anymore who relies on health to give some loot. Also, Mirage will definitely love you as an ally. An explosive legion Mirage would love to have you as an ally to piss off Sarins on Sanctuary Onslaught. But this ability is not only for support purposes. It actually makes Protea a good solo frame. With this ability, you don't need to rely on Xenuric anymore, and you can literally spam your abilities without worrying about running out of energy. It works well when you have Arcane Energize, and the best part is, your dispenser can't be destroyed. It stays in the field and poops loot all day. If you want to make this ability more effective, then I suggest adding duration and power strength to your build. Duration will make it last longer, while power strength will give you the chance to gain a second item drop. And lastly, let's talk about her fourth ability, Temporal Anchor. It's basically a rewind ability. Press the ability and you'll get anchored in that spot, which allows you to return on that specific location after the duration of the ability ends. Upon returning, you will restore that saved energy, so it is wise that you spam your other abilities after casting Temporal Anchor. In addition, Protea is invulnerable to damage and status effects while rewinding. And if Protea receives lethal damage while anchored, all recorded damage is lost as she is immediately forced to rewind to her anchor with her health points restored to 5% of maximum health capacity, whilst her ammo, energy, and shields are restored to the saved amounts. But take note that activation energy cost is permanently consumed and not restored at the end of the ability. While the ability is very effective to use when you anchored yourself in a safe spot, I feel that it's still underwhelming at the moment. It may be fancy and cool, but it doesn't give you anything else after you returned from your anchor spot. I'm hoping in the future that Digital Extremes will give an augment to this ability, allowing us to gain like bonus damage reduction and damage after rewinding to give this ability more flair. Right now, the ability is simple, and only does what it's intended to do. There are times I feel that I don't need this ability anymore, since I can just use my third to regain lost energy, and the rewinds doesn't actually offer anything useful. By the way, this ability also has some small nuking capability. But again, it's also lackluster. The explosion only triggers on your last known location, and it's not that big even if you have a decent range on your build. Not to mention that it deals blast damage. It may good for crowd control, and for those enemies weak against this type of damage, but it won't even do a dent to high-level armored enemies. The implosion damage can get big, and I think it stacks damage while your fourth ability is active and you are dealing with some slash damage, but still, blast can't go through against tough enemies. For now, it's just a fancy ability for me. Now before we head to the end of this video, let's not forget to discuss about her passive ability. After casting 3 abilities, Protea empowers her next ability cast with a 100% ability strength bonus. Each ability she casts builds 1 power bar to charge up the power indicator, displayed above her ability icons. Once fully charged with 3 power bars, the leftmost slot on the power indicator glows intensely and the bonus ready message is shown above the indicator. After the bonus is applied, the power indicator empties to reset the cycle. Abilities can be cast in any combination to empower a desired ability with the passive bonus, but the ability strength bonus on this passive is not affected by any mods. So overall, Protea is a pretty decent frame. Her first ability is her strongest at the moment, and it pairs well with her dispenser. Your second ability can be used to quickly kill low to medium enemies in tight spots, but I really think that it needs some improvement to make it go well with her other abilities. While her fourth ability is a fancy rewind, that allows you to go back in time and restore your energy. It's useful in certain circumstances, but it definitely needs more to make it worth using. These are my initial thoughts about Protea, and I hope that you have received some pretty valuable information about this frame. Let me know in the comments section below on your initial thoughts for this frame, and if somehow you have something insane that wasn't mentioned in this video, feel free to share it so the community can have more fun using this frame. I will be releasing more Deadlock Protocol content later, especially mean max build for Protea, but I will just wait until Digital Extremes do some tweaks for this frame. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.
This is the future. Human error. Evolution. This is the future.